President Trump continues to overhaul the immigration system. This time he's putting a higher price tag on high-skilled work visas. Starting now, it's going to cost companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, many others, $100,000 for each new H-1B visa hire. But that's not all. The White House is also introducing its new Gold Card, a $1 million visa for those willing and able to pay. All right, so Charles, very eager to get your take on this. Is this an experiment you like? Are you worried about it? Where do you stand?
On the H-1B, this topic blows up, and people go kind of crazy on it, then it fades away for a long period of time. In part because of those names you just kind of rattled off.
Right.
They've got the ability to circle the wagons and wait it out. But now that we've got official action, I think it's about time. Every time we used to cover this, I would hear from people saying, "Yeah, I have a degree. It's not that the jobs aren't there, but they're paying these people a lot less." And sadly, even though the media tried to make this over the weekend an anti-India thing, I saw one headline: Indians are the new Jews. I mean, that's how bad it got over the weekend. The real problem are Indian companies and their subsidiaries paying less money. So, for instance, Tata Consultancy, they pay $105,000 average salary, whereas Amazon for these same workers pay $149,000. Infosys pays $103,000. And Infosys is considered a progressive company. I remember when they went public, they were the first company in India to offer employees stock options. Wipro, $93,000. Again, Amazon.com, $149,000. Wipro, $93,000. So there's four levels to this. There is the Michael Jordan level, right? There are some amazing, extraordinarily talented folks we want to come here. The other three levels we don't. And by the way, this opens the door to other programs that are out there that are really siphoning off even more American jobs. So I hope they keep going with this.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, to the Michael Jordan level, that is what H-1B visas were created for about 30 years ago. It was for the top of the top, which is why I would like to see this $100,000 fee not be a one-time fee. I would like to see it be annual, because if we are bringing over the people that we are supposed to bring over with these visas, that is a drop in the bucket. But if we are bringing over people who are, the other three tiers, that isn't a drop in the bucket for them. And it indicates that there is probably an American worker that can fill that position. And 60 Minutes in 2017, they did a report. The University of California, San Francisco Medical Center, they fired 80 IT workers and outsourced those jobs to Indian workers. And the American workers had to train the Indian replacements. Disney had a huge scandal with this. And Bruce Morrison, who drafted this legislation, he told 60 Minutes he was outraged about how the program had been hijacked to replace and displace American workers. So this is a great first step. I would like to see it ramped up a little.
Jackie, what do you think? Because, you get a lot of the tech companies are going to push back hard against this, right? And they're going to say, this is where these are skilled workers we need. We can't find them in the United States. There's some academics who will also say, and this is sort of research, they'll say, actually, if you look at over time, folks coming here with these level of skills actually end up creating more jobs because they're very capable workers. They help these companies. The companies expand. It creates more jobs, which benefits Americans too. So, that's kind of the other side of what Charles is saying. How do you come down on it?
I can see both sides of it. And I would say to the corporations, put your money where your mouth is. To Brianna's point, really bring in the cream of the crop that are going to be productive here. This is an investment. If you're paying $100,000 per visa per employee, and some of the fees and other things that go along with it as well, that's significant. So you just don't want to bring any Tom, Dick, and Harry here to do the job to displace somebody else that was doing it in America. So I think it incentivizes the companies to really rethink who they're bringing over and bring the best. You've got to be able to return that money, your salary, and then some to earn a seat at the table here. And I think having those higher standards is important because over the years, the standards have just degraded over time and people have gotten used to that. And I would also say, for those who are criticizing President Trump, regarding this to a certain degree, the corporations are paying this. So for the people who say the rich and the corporations, they don't pay their fair share and all this tax policy benefits them, this will raise roughly $100 billion in revenue. Trump suggested that he might think about lowering taxes on certain groups, paying down federal debt. Listen, I know 100 billion in this day and age doesn't really sound like that much anymore, and the Doge cuts I think amount
It's like a month's worth of interest.
100 billionaire, 100 billionaire.
I know,
It's not that
but-
much.
But if we can get some of those costs down and we can start adding some of these nickels and dimes up together, believe it or not, it might have an impact.
Dagan, you're always in touch with what's going on in the tech space, talking to the guys who run these companies. Are you persuaded by their arguments that we should have more H-1B, even if you want less immigration, we should have more on the H-1B side because those are the more skilled workers? Or do you think that they're just, to Charles' point, touting their book because they want to pay a lower salary to these workers?
Well, the initial reaction on Friday was, what the? When is this going to affect? Does this apply to current visa holders? Don't get on the plane.
It was. I think they turned a couple around. I don't know. Yeah.
It was get off the plane, don't leave the country, because we. So it was a 4-alarm cluster.
Which is typical. Whenever Trump puts in a new policy, they go crazy. And the misinformation is.
Well, and having Howard Lutnick standing next to him saying something that was kind of not quite what the president was saying. Holy Moses, Mary, and Joseph. So it got cleaned up a little bit on Saturday by Caroline Leavitt. But even then, it's because I was having this exchange earlier today. It's like, okay, can you be clear? Is this $100,000 to enter the lottery? Or is it $100,000 after you have received your lottery placement and you have the visa?
I thought it was the latter.
Right. So it's $100,000 after you've gotten your lottery spot. You've gotten the visa, and then they use in essence, the $100,000 before they vet you. So it's after you've gotten the lottery spot. But the person I was emailing with, because it's like, oh, it's the petition. Anyway, so it still was not crystal. That being said, right now, this won't, other than the kind of fire drill over the weekend, it won't have that much of an impact on hiring in this country, on the operations of these technology companies. Long run, if you really want to raise revenue, and I'll borrow this from Steve Moore, you should auction these visas to the highest bidder. You shouldn't just have, say, everybody gets to pay the same thing. If they're that valuable, then make people pay more. Or alternatively, if you really want to raise money, don't have a lottery and don't have a cap on the number, or just have a complete free-for-all. But it's hard to ascertain who is valuable that comes into this country and who isn't. Because if you look at, say, just the salary breakdown, say someone who's coming in on a H-1B, who's working in medicine, their salary might not be that much, but their contribution to medical research and science might be incalculable and priceless, and its value might not be realized for decades to come.
That's a good point. There's a lot of uncertainty around what value you can create because a lot of this is experimental work. Even I think it was
subjective.
Wasn't it Sam Bowie who got drafted ahead of Michael Jordan in the draft? So even if you want the Michael Jordans, even in basketball, they didn't know the Michael Jordan until he came into the league.
Well, who didn't know? We knew in high school.
Yeah, but those Trailblazers, they wanted Bowie, man. They wanted him. They thought he was going to be the next.
I never
people
heard it.
People in the
That's
South.
the point, and you got drafted.
People
anyway.
in North Carolina knew when Michael Jordan was in high school. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
He got cut from his
Portland
high school
didn't know,
team,
but North Carolina knew. Yeah.
You got to prove it.